Christians are not to obey laws. They are to obey Christ within. Christians are not to obey laws in their obedience unto God. They are to obey the Christ nature within. Anytime you start to obey laws apart from the Christ nature within, so you become religious. And so God rejects your obedience. It seems like obedience to you, but He rejects that because it's really disobedience. God does not require you to obey laws. Listen, church, He requires you to obey the nature of Christ within. Now, don't other religions obey laws? Don't they submit to obeying laws to do what is right? Don't other religions do that? Yes, but they don't do it from the Christ nature. Therefore, God does not receive what they think is obedience to such laws. All of your goodness, your decency, your submission to laws to do the right thing that is separate from the nature of Christ within is not obedience, but disobedience. For obedience only comes from the Christ nature within. Church, you need to be surrendered to the Holy Spirit to really get what I'm speaking about here. Okay? Now, does this offend you? Does it offend you? Goodness will take you to hell when it is apart from the nature of Christ. Your goodness is cursed. Why do you think Jesus came to die on the cross? He came to crucify your goodness so that He could come and give you His goodness. So, don't be deceived, church. The only obedience that God receives is the obedience that comes directly from the Christ nature within you. So as a Christian, you are not called to obey God's laws. Let me repeat that. This is where Christians start to get they don't really understand what I'm saying here. Please surrender to the Holy Spirit. As a Christian, you are not called to obey God's laws because you cannot obey His laws. God came up with another way. You are to obey the Christ nature within, which will obey God in every way He wants you to obey. Never do what is right apart from the Christ nature. Do you know what that means when I say that to you? Never do what is right apart from the Christ nature. People of the religions of the world, they do that. You are not called to do what is right. You cannot do what is right. Your own righteousness is rejected by God. You are called to live from the Christ nature. And that righteousness will do what is right. So I hope you can see this, church. Religious people live for God apart from a Christ nature, but the true Christian lives for God from the Christ nature. That is the true obedience. Only Jesus offers the true obedience unto the Father. Your obedience is rejected by God. it is rejected by God. So know the power of true Christianity. It is not being good. It is not doing what is right. It is not obeying laws. It is doing what God requires of you, and that is living from the Christ nature within. Then you will be good. Then you will do what is right. Then you will obey God's laws. Not from you, but from the nature of Christ within you. So don't be religious. Don't be religious. Obey from the nature of Christ within.